Hello everyone, it's Karen here from Stampin' with Karen Spreckley, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. And I've got another Monday video tutorial for you. Following on a little bit from last week's tutorial where I made a little 3D project, I'm going to make another 3D project this week. But some of it is using very similar techniques to the techniques that I used last week. Now, as usual, all of the products that I use in today's video are from Stampin' Up, and you can purchase them from Stampin' Up through me. All of the links are in the description bar below. And down there you'll also find links to my various different social media bits and pieces. So you can, subscribe or like or follow and catch me wherever you like. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make a little mini stack of boxes. Now, there's a very talented Stampin' Up demo and very popular YouTuber called Pootles, and Sam Hammond is Pootles' actual name, and she's a brilliant YouTuber and she does loads of really lovely 3D projects. A few weeks ago, I was watching some of her back videos and I found a lovely stack of boxes that she'd made for a Christmas project. I think it was last year. She may well have done one this year as well, but I haven't seen that one yet. And I thought that was a really lovely idea. It showcases lovely products that coordinate beautifully, as Stampin' Up products do. But the other lovely thing was that it was a really straightforward, simple technique that really, as long as you've got a trimmer, a pair of scissors and some adhesive, you can crack on and make these, and they make some really pretty home decor projects. So what I've decided to use today is I've decided to use some of the Feels Like Frost Designer Series paper. I have used this in videos before. The pack of paper is 6 by 6 and it comes with 48 sheets, 12 different designs, I believe, 4 of each. And the papers are really stunning in that they've got photoreal images on one side. So we can see here we've got these beautiful leaves and these little frosted plants. But on the other side, you've got lovely metallic and white finishes as well. So really it enables you to go for a couple of different looks really. So I've chosen to go with the photoreal side today, and I've chosen this pattern for one of the boxes, and I've chosen Seaside Spray, which is picked out one of the colours in this photo. And for this one I've picked out Rococo Rose cardstock to go with it, because I thought that also picked out one of the colours nicely. Now what I've done here, I've got my grid paper on the centimetre side, so I'll just need to get my ruler out. So the Rococo Rose, so this will be the biggest box. I've got an 8-inch square piece of cardstock for the base, which I'm going to score really simply at 2 inches on all 4 sides. The next size down box is 7 inches square, and this box I'm also going to score at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So that makes the measurements really lovely and simple for these boxes that stack together really nicely to make a nice decorative element. To make the lids are 2 inches shorter in both directions than the bases, and we're going to score those at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So this one is 6 inches square because the cardstock was 8 inches square, and this bluer pattern is 5 inches square because the cardstock was 7 inches square. So I've already trimmed these pieces down just to save a little bit of time. So what I need to do now is to do my scoring. So I could use my Stampin' Up trimmer, but today I'm going to use the Simply Scored scoring tool, which I tend to get out if I am literally just scoring. So I'm going to start with the largest piece of cardstock, just pop it right up in the corner, and we're going to score it at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So really couldn't be easier. And the other box that will go in this little stack, we're also going to score at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So I do like it when a project keeps the measurements nice and simple for me, but still creates something beautiful and effective. Now for our designer series paper, so for my 6-inch squared piece that is going to be the lid for my larger box, I'm going to move this out just a tiniest little fraction, and I'm going to score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So I move it out the tiniest little fraction every time on each side, and that means that it should help create a nice fit on the box. And now I've got my 5" by 5" piece that will be the lid for the slightly smaller box. So again, moving it out just the tiniest little amount and scoring it at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So tiniest little amount. Oh, make sure it's butted up nice and square to the top though. So that's now all of the scoring. So I've got my 2 pieces of cardstock, my 2 pieces of designer series paper, all cut and scored. So as with any 3D project really, when we've done some scoring, we need to do some burnishing. So I've got my bone folder here and I'm going to fold and burnish all of those score lines. There we go, so that's one done. Next one. So people do sometimes ask me in classes and things, oh, when you're scoring, how do you know which way to fold the cardstock? Well, the way I remember it is that the valley becomes the mountain. So when you score into your cardstock, you make the valley, and that valley becomes the mountain. So that's the sort of general rule of thumb when it comes to scoring paper and cardstock. However, it's not the law or anything. If you end up doing it the other way round, it's absolutely fine. You know, you're not going to burst into flames or anything like that. It's all good. So I'm just going around now and burnishing each of these score lines. That one wasn't quite folding straight. So I've now burnished everything. So now what I need to do, a bit like when I made the boxes last week, is I now need to go in and snip along these score lines. So again, just like last week, I'm going to cut up the rectangle to the score line that goes across. I'm going to notch out of the square. Then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. I'm going to go straight up the rectangle, notch out of the square. So I hope everybody's had a really lovely weekend. I'm filming this video ahead of time for a change, so I don't actually know what I got up to at the weekend. I'm just trying to think now what's planned in. No, I'm at an absolute loss, can't remember. But hopefully I will have been to the gym and stuff, just like I did last week. Okay, so if you remember from last week, exactly the same pattern as we did then. So I'm going to do the same now on this card base. So just for your information, while I'm snipping away here, I do post daily inspiration on my blog, Facebook page, Instagram and Pinterest. It's mainly inspiration, but sometimes I share, oh, didn't really go up there very straight, did I just do that one again? Sometimes I might be sharing, you know, news from Stampin' Up about, you know, a sale or a special offer, something like that. Or I may be sharing information about some of the events that I run. But I do try and share lots and lots of inspiration of things that I've made, because I do like to share the crafting with everybody. Okay, so that's now on my 2 bases. And I'm now going to do exactly the same on the lids. And that's what makes these box projects really, really simple to do. Now, apologies if this glares too much, but I think I'm going to find it slightly easier to cut on there. So I really do appreciate all of you that subscribe and follow. It really does mean a lot. Honestly, it really does. When people appreciate what you do and they take time to like and comment, it's brilliant. And I get to meet some of you face to face sometimes at different events, which is nice. Always lovely to talk to you. And I hope you're enjoying the projects that I'm sharing with you, and hope that you enjoy creating things at home too. It's a brilliant stress relief, isn't it, having a creative hobby, regardless of what you're doing. It might be gardening, it might be sewing, painting, or in my case sort of paper crafting, but it's that little bit of you time. It's fantastic therapy. Whilst I'm concentrating here on not cutting my fingers off, I'm not thinking about anything else. The worries of the world have passed me by. So there we go. I've now cut all of my bits and pieces. So now it's time to stick things together. So for my card bases, I'm actually going to use some tear and tape because I need this to be a nice strong adhesive. The only downside with this, of course, is that I have to try and get all that backing paper off, but we shall see. I shall do my best. So I think I'll go round and get my backing paper off, and then what I might do is I might actually go in and add a little bit of liquid glue as well, so the dry adhesive, the tear and tape, will grab straight away for me, and then the wet adhesive will help stick it all together afterwards. So I'm just doing a little scribble of wet adhesive on each corner as well. So now what we need to do is we need to fold those tabs in, and we bring it up and make ourselves a nice neat corner, and we repeat that on all four sides. Oh, I don't think I snipped in, don't appear to have snipped in quite enough there, or I haven't burnished it properly. That's better. Don't think I'd quite burnished it properly. So we tuck in each of these flaps to make our box base. So that's lovely. Actually, that's worked really, really well. I'm just going to go in with my bone folder just to burnish that down and ensure that's all nice and stuck. I'm going to do exactly the same now on my slightly larger Rococo Rose box. So again, I think I'll do the same trick because that's worked quite nicely. So a little bit of tear and tape just for that initial grab, and then a little bit of liquid glue for some longer standing adhesion there. Make sure the box is stuck together nice and strong. So nice little boxes these. They end up 2 inches deep, and the smaller one is going to be 3 inches by 3 inches by 2 inches, and the larger one is going to be 4 inches by 4 inches by 2 inches. So plenty to put some little treats in, or if you just wanted them for home decor, they'd look really, really pretty, and that's why I've chosen them in the nice frosty winter papers, because I think they'd make a nice addition around the home at sort of Christmas time. And again, I'm going to fold those tabs in and make myself some nice square corners. So one of the things that really drew me to Stampin' Up as a company was their colour coordination. Inks, ink pads, paper, embellishments, cardstock, that all match perfectly, and I'm afraid you don't get that with a lot of other places. So there we go. So you can see where we're going here. I've got my 2 different size boxes. So now it's time to do the lids, and because the lids are paper to paper, using a bit of snail is going to be absolutely plenty to keep these lids stuck together. So I'll just apply a little bit of snail on each of those lids, and yet again, same process. That's what keeps this lovely and simple, is we tuck those in. And I think always a useful little thing when making a box is if you wrap the lid around the base as you're making it, then you know it's going to be a good fit, but it won't be too tight. So if I now take that off, my lid is going to fit nice and snugly on my box. So there we go, there's box number 1 all finished. So now going to do the same on the lid for box number 2. So again, snail adhesive is going to be plenty for this because we're just sticking paper to paper. And again, just folding round, exactly the same principle. So I've done my one corner. I'll now go in and tuck my other corners in around my box base to make sure it's going to fit. So we take that off and we pop that in there. Oh, so there we go. We've got 2 lovely boxes that can stack together beautifully, and obviously you can just keep making them smaller and smaller. Now, something that we could do, and this is probably where the video is all going to go really wrong for me, is we could actually wrap some ribbon around these. So what I might do is, because I want these for decorative purposes and not for gift-giving purposes, is I'm going to just apply a little bit of snail, and I'm going to stick that box to that lid there. That was another little tip that Pootles gave on her video. So just literally enough to hold it in place. And now I'm going to wrap my ribbon round. So this is the Seaside Spray ribbon, and it's glittery and it's beautiful, and it's from the Feels Like Frost suite of products. So cut myself a nice long length of ribbon off there, and then now what I'm going to do is I shall wrap that under there, and then I'm going to tie, I hope, a pretty bow to make this all look nice and professional and nicely finished. At least that's the aim. Wish me luck. So tying a bow on camera is scary, trust me. You think it might be the simplest thing in the world, but it's actually quite difficult. Yay, I've done it. Oh, I'm well proud. So there we go. I might just trim those edges so they've got a nice little point on them, just as a nice finishing touch. So there we go. We've got a lovely little stack of boxes made using the simplest method you can think of, and using some of the beautiful products from the Feels Like Frost suite. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you, probably more than you even know. Hope you all have a good week, and I'll see you again next week for another video. Thanks. Bye bye.